Good morning, class. You're welcome. We're having STH 331, Advanced Clothing Design, Advanced Textile Design. The topic now is different types of weaves. Before we go into that, we want to know what we call fibers. Fibers are hair-like. They are very tender, they are thin, they are short. And these fibers are used for the production of fabrics. So, before fabric can be produced, because these fibers cannot be made directly into fabrics because of the nature, because of the shortness and because it's thin, so they are first twisted and spun into yarns. So yarns are constructed into fabrics. So a textile fabric is prepared from yarn. So fabrics are made from yarn. And we have different types of methods of making fabrics or fabric construction. There's different methods of constructing fabrics or methods of constructing fabrics. This means that fabrics may be produced by weaving, by felting, bonding, knitting, quilting, crocheting, lacing, bracing, and so on and so forth. But the most common methods used in constructing fabrics are weaving and knitting. So those are the ones we are going to consider in this course. So that brings us to the topic, woven fabrics. Weaving is a process of producing fabrics by interlacing at least two sets of yarns at right angles. In non-woven clothes, there are warp, which is called lengthwise, and the weft, which are crosswise fillings. We have discussed that in the terms. We have already known what is called warp and weft. Warp lines are lengthwise, while wefts are crosswise. So the warp that are lengthwise, they are there. So the wefts, which are crosswise, are for filling. They are also called filling yarns. The lengthwise edge of a fabric are called selvedge, as we have discussed before. The selvedge is made of warp yarns that are loosely packed. In the factory or where we are weaving fabrics, we have the loom. The loom is a machine used in weaving fabric. In the first stage of the weaving process, the loom is threaded with warp yarns. The warp yarns, which are lengthwise or that are vertical. So these lengthwise are held under tension during the weaving process. For this reason, warp yarns have to be strong to withstand this constant tension during the weaving process. So because of this strength usually possessed by the warp yarns, the lengthwise direction of a fabric is stronger than the crosswise direction. That is, the warp lines, the warp threads are stronger than the web threads. So during weaving, the web yarns are interlaced with the warp yarns. There are different reasons why clothes does not look alike. In fabric production, there are three major ways that the weaving process can be varied in order to make different kinds of woven fabrics. Firstly, the patterns for interlacing can be varied. There are basic types of weaves. We have basic types of weave. We have plain weave, we have twill weave, and satin weave. These terms describe how the yarns are interlaced. There are, however, variations of each of these weaves. For the plain weave, we have variations. For the twill weave, we also have variation. For the satin weave, we also have variations. So secondly, the yarns used can be varied. Yarns differ in shades, they differ in size, they differ in diameter, and also they differ in uniformity. So we have a third reason why yarns are being interlaced with warp yarns. We have reasons why clothes does not look alike. The third reason is the compactness of the weave can also be varied. The closeness of yarns in fabric affects the appearance of a fabric. Cloth or yarn or thread counts are terms used to describe the number of warp and webbed yarns per centimeter of fabric. So plain weaves, we have the basic weaves. We have the basic weaves. That takes us to the basic weaves. You know, the topic we are considering is the different types of weaves. So we are having the basic weaves now. I want to have the basic weaves. Under the basic weaves, we have plain weave, we have twill weave, and we have satin weave, as I've already mentioned. So the basic weave, we have plain weave. Plain weave, it is formed by yarns at right angles, passing alternatively over and under each other. Fabrics of plain weave include the cloth that we call voile, gingham, grey baft, calico. They are all produced using plain weave. So we have variations of plain weaves. Variations. We have different types of plain weaves. Variations, different types. We have the basket weave. It's a variation of plain weave. Basket weave is a variation of plain weave. Basket weave, this is a variation of plain weave, where you have the webbed threads or yarns which are made to pass over and under two warp yarn regularly for 2 rows, and then the arrangement is changed in the next row or rows. It gives a checkered effect and an interesting texture to the surface. That is, after producing basket weave, when you look at it, it will look like a check fabric that is called check. So this is a variation of plain weave. We also have another variation of plain weave, which is called pile weave. Pile weave. This has a plain weave as a background. It has a plain weave as a background. An extra thread is woven into the warp and weft of the plain weave to make loops. Then the loops can be cut as in velvet. So the type of fabric that is produce using pie weave is velvet. We also have cordon. So these are the examples of fabrics that can be produced. Also we have towels or baby napkins. They are all examples of pie weave. Another variation of plain weave is also called rib weave. It's a variation of plain weave. They are made by using different yarns in the warp and filling directions, with one of them being thicker or heavier. This results in either a warp or a webbed rib. So that is about plain weave under the basic weave. So we also have twill weave. Twill weave is another basic weave. Twill weave. Twill weave. Each warp of filling yarn floats across two or more filling or warp yarns with a progression of interlacing by one to the right or left, forming a distinct diagonal line. Twill fabrics include denim, gabardine, flannel, jean. All these are examples of twill weave. We also have another one under basic weaves, which is called satin weave. Satin weave. This one it floats. Each warp yarn floats over 4 fillings. It floats over 4 filling yarns and interlaces with the 5th filling yarn. Or each filling yarn floats over 4 warps and interlaces with the 5th warp. In some cases, each yarn floats across 7 yarns and interlaces with the 8th yarn. Satin woven fabric include satin, SATEN, antiqué satin, ANTIQUE, antiqué satin. All these are examples of satin weaves. Satin weave is they are plain weaves. They are examples of plain weave. That is, the weft or warp threads pass over more threads than are picked up. So long thread result on the surface and give a smooth effect, which gives luster to the fabric. You know what I mean by luster. We have discussed that one before. That luster makes the fabric to be shining and smooth. So we are going to be another type of plain weave. We have discussed under basic weaves, we have discussed plain weave with variations, twill weave, and satin weaves. We also have another one that is under basic weave, which is called pile weaves. Pile weaves. This one is produce fabric with cut or uncut loops on the surface of the fabric embedded in a base fabric. For example, we have cordon, we have toweling, as we have discussed. Then another type of weave Another type of basic weave is called leno weaves. Leno weaves uses two sets of warp yarns that are interlaced around one set of filling yarns. The resulting fabric is not compact but has net-like appearance. Leno weaves, they have net-like appearance. Nets. We also have Jacquard Weave, which provide fabrics with designs woven directly into the fabric. For example, we have a fabric we call damask. Damask is an example of Jacquard Weave. We also have so many types of weaves that we are still going to consider. If you go online, you have different types of weaves. So we are going to move to the next one, which is knitting. In the next class, we are moving to knitting. So we are going to go online and look for more types of basic weaves. If you go to your portal, you will check the assignment that I have given you there. Go and check it. You made album with the basic weaves. Produce album for them. Use cardboard to practice how to do the types of weaves, the different types of weaves. Use cardboard to produce it. Cut your cardboard into strips and with different colors of cardboards. Cut them into strips and use them to practice how to do the different types of weaves. Then you, after the production, you now make an album with the different types of weaves. Produce album, put them and label them and put the types of weaves. Thank you. If you have questions, send to me.